هسه recorded base and occlusion rooms. After I'm finished my final impressions and the final details about my records, now I can get a cast that representing the final details of my patients. Good. This is the final steps of my impressions. Now the steps that remains is just a technical and recording from the patients. No more impressions. And now I should be take not just the anatomical landmarks, but I should be also recorded what the vertical relations between the maxilla and the mandible, and also from all the aspects, vertical and horizontal, because the patient during the chewings and movements, you get some movements of your arch. And nowadays, if you search or you go to the mirror and see your teeth when you arrange it, you can speak, you can some of the sounds is appear clear, you can cut, you can swallow, everything according to your vertical dimensions. And these vertical dimension for you, not for all. So no have specific dimensions, you should be make it. No have a special number for the vertical dimension. But what I can do, I should be go to register this vertical dimension for this patients. Okay, so what I will make it now a template of my dentures. I'm starting with the recorded base. So this recorded base is a temporary form representing the base of the dentures. If I look to the picture that available in the slides, it's the cast made from stone and the recorded base made from the temporary material. This temporary material, not acrylic, I can make it, not hot cure acrylic, I can make it from cold cure acrylic or from shellac, okay, and the material I will explain it to you. And of course, I can do it from any temporary material, but you should have some requirements. These requirements, what you have, should be rigid, accurate, stable, border rounds, smooth, and should be thin to representing the base of your denture in the futures. Now, why I'm not make it from the wax? The wax, if I put it inside the mouth, will be melt, right? Distortions, vertical dimension, I cannot record it in a perfect way. So you should be rigid, stable. If you're not stable, will be what? Rocking effects. What is meaning rocking? It's when you close the patient on his mouth, the base will be left from one, press on one side and left from another side. Okay, from this point of view, you should be stable to recording the vertical dimensions from the full recorded areas. The border should be not sharp, because when you have put it inside the mouth, no have anything to hurt the patients. And finally, should be thin, because you have a space to put the teeth on it. Okay, راح اشرحها بالعربي. نحن finally نحن اخذنا البريشن مالتنا. اوكي، هسه راح اشرح الستبس حتى هسه. انا بالنسبه لي جاني البيشنت مثل دايجنوسيس يريد له كومبليت دنتشرز. راح ابدي اخذ البرايمري امبريشنز بالبرفوريتد تري اور وين اللي نون برفوريتد تري. بيش؟ اما according to the material that I have it. اما alginate, impression compounds, okay, and then according to this impression على المواد مالتي راح اختار ايش؟ التريات. اذا كان alginate راح استختار البرفوريتد 1. اذا اختاريت الامبريشن كومباوند راح اختار السوليد 1 اللي هو نون برفوريتد تري. راح اختار على البيشنت، راح اخذ امبريشنز، بعدين راح اصبه، راح يطلع لي عندي كاست اللي هو البرايمري كاست مالي. بعد هذه البرايمري كاست انا راح اجي اعمل السبيشال تري. السبيشال تري راح اعملها على الماتيريال اللي عندي، واعمل له هاندل وترتيب وقاص وتريمينج وحاضر. بعد انا هسه راح ارجع اخذ امبريشن، فاينل امبريشنز. اخذت فاينل امبريشن، ايش طلع عندي؟ طلع عندي الكاست اللي هو الفاينل ديتيلز مال البيشنت. هسه انا ايش ضل عندي؟ كاستين، ابر ولور بس بدون تيث. هسه انا راجع لازم اختار مكان للتيث مالي، وراح اسجل الفيرتيكال ريليشن مال البيشنتس، وراح اختار الهوريزونتال والموفمنت لانه لازم تكون كلها نفس الاسنان الطبيعيه اللي كانت عنده. اوكي، فهسه من ابدي راح اسجل، احتاج الى كلوزر رم اللي هو الشمع اللي راح اسويه هسه، وراح احتاج الى البيس اللي هو لازم تكون احط عليها الواكس، راح تكون هي الماتيريال مالتي ريكوردد بيس. فهاي ريكوردد بيت بيها ماتيريال ممكن تستخدمها، بس لازم تكون بيها مواصفات، لازم تكون قويه، لازم تكون اكيوريسي مالتها عاليه. ليش؟ لانه انا منخليه بالبيشنت اذا صار انستيبل معناتها ما اعطيك اسجل شيء العلاقه، يعني من حقول له البيشنت سد على هذا البايت من الواكس، اذا كانت تتحرك فراح يتحرك الدنجر، فالريكورد مالتك يكون غلط. اذا كانت سوفت راح يصير بها ديستورشنز، اذا صارت راوند حوافيها شارب راح تجرح البيشنت ما حيطيق يتحرك بالطريقه اللي هي الكومفورت اللي هو. واذا كانت ثخينه فما حطيق احط مكانه وين التيث، اذا هي ثخينه البيس مالي وين اخلي التيث مالي. فانا اذا عندي نقاط لازم تكون هذه ريكوردد بيس انكلود. فمن هذا الاوبجيكتيف مالتي to retain a occlusal medium or device used to recording the maxillomandibular relations to aid to transfer accurate jaw relations to the articulators to enable the settings of artificial teeth in a trial dentures. هاي نحن حكيناها اللي هي نحن راح نحط عليها الشمع، راح يكون الريكورد مالتنا، وراح نحط عليها التيث. From بهذه النوعيات you have many types of these recorded base. Temporal recorded base طبعا they are discarded and replaced by denture based material. هاي ما material هي standards. اوكي، هي ما هي راح تبقى بالبيشن ماوث، لا نحن راح نغيرها صح. فبهاي الحركه انا بس مجرد راح اخذ بها الريكورد وراح استفاد منها انه نحط عليها الاسنان مالتنا الارينجمنت بالبرايمري حتى يشوف البيشنت ونشيك على البيشنت ماوث، وبعدها replacing all these procedures بالفاينل ماتيريال مالتنا اللي هي الهوتوكيورز. ولهذا types of temporal recorded bases هي عندك الشيلاك بيس، عندك reinforced shellac base، عندك الكولد كيور، عندك الفيزيبل لايت كيور، acrylic resin والvacuum types. Really, and the base plate wax. The base plate wax here should be reinforced. هسه إن شاء الله I will explain to you in not the normal wax that you use it. The shellac base, I think most of you know it. A reinforced shellac base you have reinforced with the wires. Okay, cold cure accurately is in cold cure الاعتيادي اللي نستخدمه و most of the cases تجينا هي cold cure. Visible light cure acrylic resin, some type of the acrylic you can cure by the light. مثل الحشوات اللي تشوفوها انتم بالبيشنات بصف رابع وخامس تشتغلون عليه على البيشنتس، فهو اكو كولد كيور خاص مال لاب اللايت، اكو جهاز بينه لايت فنحط البيس بعد ما عملنا ميكسينج وارنجت وصار عندنا الشكل الاخير راح نحطه داخل هذا الجهاز. هذا الجهاز راح نعطيها لايت نفس الحشوه اللي راح يتم بس الحشوه باللايت، نفس الجهاز اللي راح يستخدمونه بعمليه الكيورينج مال البيس بليت. فلهذا المواد راح ندرسها واحد واحد ونشوف ان شاء الله النوعيات. البيرمننت recorded base they are not discarded and become the part of your actual base of the finished complete denture. طبعا هذه نحن التمبوراري راح نغيرها، راح اعلمكم الطريقه اللي راح يصير بها flasking procedures and then when you have this flasking we're removing everything this base place التمبوراري one والواكس راح تبقى عندك الكاست وراح يبقى عندك التيث، وبعدين راح نجيب الهوت كيورز ونرجعهم بالفلاسكينج. ان شاء الله راح اشرح لكم البروسيجرز ونحن كنا بوقتنا in the same age of you okay with the same stage we are make it by your hands and you can make it in your homes too. okay, the types of permanent recorded base الهوت كيور acrylic الجولد chrome cobalt chrome nickel alloy. طبعا نحن هسه nowadays طبعا most of this complete dentures is made by the hot cures because the prices and the weight. and طبعا الكروم كوبالت types is also thin يعني I meaning the lightweights but expensive little bit, so the hot cures is cheapest one nowadays and must come and use it. And some of the dentures I saw it some patient came and did it in the Turkey and they reinforced with the chrome cobalt alloy and it's nice also because it's hard not to fracture easily but the cost is remaining a little bit higher than the hot cure acrylic one. طبعا why the material have different material, of course the choice, every material have advantage, have disadvantage according to the cost, according to the weights, according to availability, and also don't forget our point, important point here, allergy. Allergy reaction of these patients may be sometime prevent you to using of some of the material instead of another. اوكي، حساسيه مرات اكو بيشنات عندهم حساسيه من النيكل، ولهذا الكروم كوبالت ممكن نستخدمه، او الهوت كيور. الهوت كيور عاده والجولد هي من اكثر النوعيات اللي هي الانرت، اوكي، اللي هي الرياكشن مع البودي الباي كومباتيبلتي، اي مين هيز ان جود واي اور ذا هاي باي كومباتيبلتي ريت، تكون ملائمه للجسم بشكل عالي. زين، إذا نجي على shellac base material, I think most of you saw it. High shellac base, you have upper and lower one. And if you remember the same shellac base, you can make it of the final impression or instead of the cold cures. And the shellac base, we are in the same age of you before. We are make it by the fair of the hair, okay, and heated. This is equally, and then adapted to the what, to the cast. The advantages of it is easily is coming with the not needing to ratio to mix, to no need to some settings times, directly you have finished it. When you cold it, it's become hard, finished, but have a problem, maybe fractured because it's too hard, the material, and also need time for fabrications, arrangement of the borders. The advantages of the shellac base, they will adapt to intimate contact with the master cast, require short time for constructions, inexpensive, can be corrected easily by reheated again. This is normally, okay, and uniform thickness. But take care from the heatings. If you make heatings, a large amount of heats at this specific area, maybe the boiling of these areas is change the shapes, colors, and the boilings is become like melted the material. They lost the physical and chemical properties of this material. The disadvantage, although the shellac recorded base are easy and quickly adapted, they are not considered satisfactory because it's little bit need time for adaptations, need time for arrangement the borders. They are warped, maybe fractures, do not fit it accurately in some area that you not pressed well, okay, distort easily like rigidity because it's brittle and break, and will be not a permanent polishing of the borders. It's not polishing material. So if you heat it in good way, or you can reheat it in good way, you can get your adaptations and finishings. Really, the shellac base one of easier materials that use it, and if you use it in good way. But the difficulties of it, or they should be cutted, or sometime maybe the dentist when you're removing from the cast is fractured, okay, maybe the cold cure is better because you give you some of strength better than the shellac base. But the shellac base, don't forget, you give you uniform thickness because the material when coming as a uniform thickness material, you just heated the borders and then you adapt it on the cast, and I think most of you use it maybe on the lab. If I go to the shellac to see the final cast, what you have it. Look to the cast, final cast. It's not like the cast that you pour it in the labs. The border is trimmed, was trimmed, and you should be have a specific, of course, trimming procedures in each stage of the process. But these procedures, I think you trimmed in the lab in the way, maybe no need more details because it's not your job. Finally, the job of technicians. But the trimming, you provide you a good relations between the upper and the lower. Not only that, just things. This point, the trimming give you the final shapes of the arch. It's clear in front of your eyes. If I see it have extra stones on the borders and you have excesses of it, it's maybe you destroy your shapes of the dentures or the borders that you need to extend it. Not only that, but the relation in the retromolar area and the in the hamular notch areas in the posterior upper and lower may be touch premature touch. It's meaning touching between the upper and the lower before it's reaching the good occlusal relationships. So the trimming remove any excess of the stones to appear the final shapes, and some of these trimmings maybe inshallah you give you in the labs to give you the indications, the location of canine, the location of central incisors in the futures. So have some sharp edge, and this is indication the locations of the canine. And this line is indicated to the midline of the cast. And also the lower and the upper trimming have different procedures. The lower is rounded, just the canine borders, and in the retromolar areas borders, and the uppers have a canines and midlines to show you where is if the patient have a shifted mandible or a maxilla. Okay, what's meaning shifted? He's asymmetrical, يعني it's meaning not on the correct way. يعني احنا نقول شوية أعوج. Okay, يعني الكاست مال upper the midline of the patient الأوريجين مالت الأصل المريض يعني هو الأوريجينال arch هو rotated, okay, in the right or left. Finally, when you arranging the teeth, you have a problems in these arrangings because you put two central incisors in the midlines, and you have the frenum attachment. It's located on the one of the sides. Look, now you have a problem. The denture area on the middles is not on the middles of the teeth. So the shape of the denture destroyed, the location two central incisors destroyed. So should we inform the patients have problems in the symmetry of your arch or shifted to the right and left, and you can speak to the patient. So from this point, when you're arranging the teeth and putting on the articulators, now this trimming procedure give you full details about these positions. Any undercut arch should be relief, and separating medium is be applied to the cast. Shellac coated base are manufactured factors in the shapes of maxillary and mandibular arch by heating. So the undercut should be removed because it's rigid, fractured easily the material. So you should be put in the medium, apply separating medium to the cast of the materials. From this point of view, now I have shellac base, and the important things you can see the shellacs have one of the uppers have the lower shapes differ because in the middle you see and the shape of the arch will be different too. You have palatal area in the upper and the lower. Don't use it in the opposite because the cuttings is more, the adaptation is more difficult. Don't go to the using the upper in the state of the lowers or the opposite because you need the supportings of the soft tissues too. Okay, of course, the final base material I depend on my cast, not on this temporary base. Even if I make it short, for example, it's not, yani you should be not make it like this, but if I make it short, it's not big deal because the final cast will be compressed or pressed on the cast that I have it getted from final impression. أنا الشيب مال denture base راح اخذها من الكاست وليس من التمبوراري بيس. temporary base مجرد هي راح تشيل لي الواكس، راح اسجل vertical dimension وراح اسجل لي ايش نو الارينجينج اوف ذا teeth. حلو، هذه اي مشكله بيها ما راح تعكس لي اي اشكاليه بالدنشر مالي المستقبلي، بس انا اعتمد على adaptation. I mean الثيكنس ممكن اذا كانت ثخينه راح تاثر على الشيب مال الدنشر المستقبل راح تطلع لي ثيك، بس الادابتيشن على السوفت تيشوز والهارد تيشو البون ما راح اعتمد عليه، راح اعتمد على الكاست الاصلي مالي. اوكي، فان شاء الله من تشوفون الفلاسكينج you will determine or you will imagine how the procedure is. From this point, if I see now shellac base, how is it? I heat it, okay, and then I cut it the excess and adapt it by wax knife, okay, until I get it the final shape of this material. هسه نحن عندنا الكاست راح نعملها temporary base ما من الشلاك، فأنا شنو البروسيجر راح نستخدمه؟ راح اعمل ريليف بالواكس اللي حكينا عليه، تتذكر اللي عملنا وين؟ بالاندر كات مالي، صح؟ اثنين، طبعا الاندر كات اللي عندي الشيب ماله لازم انا اسده بشيء سوفت ما شيء هارد. يعني الماتيريال اللي راح اسد بها الاندر كات ما لازم تكون ستون، لانه الشيب مال دنتشر فاينل راح تكون لازم على الاناتوميكال لاند ماركس، صح؟ فلازم اشده بواكس، لانه هذا الواكس بعدين راح يطلع معه ويرجع الادابتيشن مال فاينل دنتشر مالتي راح تكون على هالاندر كات. فانا اسيله هاي واحد، راح احط سيبريتنج ميديوم على الكاست. هسه الكاست مالي جاهز، راح اجيب هاي الشيلاك بيس قطعه، راح اعمل لها هيتينجز، اعمل لها ادابتيشنز، صحيح، وتنتهي العمليه. طبعا خلصنا قصينا الحواف الزياده، فهذه البروسيجر مالتي اللي راح تشوفها هسه. هذه راح جبنا شيلاك بيس، عملنا له هيتنج من البوردرز. شوف هسه اذا تشوف الصوره الاولى اللي على اليسار راح تشوف شويه اوفر هيت صاير، ويبدي من يصير اوفر هيت راح يصير بويلينج، احذر. وراح تحذر من نقطه ثانيه during the cutting the excess of the material. اذا صارت الماتيريال هارد اثناء انت ما تقص ممكن يصير فراكتشر، احذر من هاي النقطتين. اوكي، فالعمليه بسيطه جدا وشغله سهله جدا، وان شاء الله راح تعملوه بالمختبر وجزء من التمام معروف، بس راح تكون فد شيء سهل جدا. بس العمليه غلط له شويه تكنيك، يعني شويه ايدك شويه بالهيتنجز تكون منتظمه، توزيع الهيت بشكل منتظم، راح يصير الادابتيشن مالتك كلش ايزي.